How's everybody doing today? How you guys keep getting in my living room, I will never know. Appreciate you coming. This is our 56th show. We basically do these twice a month. So basically we're past our 2-year mark. We outlived the quarantine, thank God. Wish we had outlived the pandemic, but we're trying. The show is free, and I love everybody who's coming to watch the show. Please enjoy the show. Do not feel any obligation, but we do have a donation set up. If you have a good time, enjoy it, and you want to show the comics a little bit of how much you enjoyed it, you can send money on Cash App, $, Button Down Comedy, or at paypal.me/BD Comedy. That money will go to the comics. Also, if you had a good time, please share this information with friends. We'd love to have a bigger audience, more laughs. We're comics. We have two choices. We either get laughs or we use actual cocaine for our high. One of the two. We'd much rather. As some of you may or may not know, I actually was involved in a car accident about 3 weeks ago. I'm recovering well, but I still look like actually from The Walking Dead because I'm walking, with a little limp. And my mom always said, make sure you have clean underwear. Honest to God, they were clean when I started. In fact, they were so clean. I had just taken them out of the freaking package. That's how clean they were. I have all these old worn out ones. Those I could have worn and had those cut off me. No, I had to get the brand new ones cut off me. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. When I was in the, they gave me that mental health checklist. Are you feeling depressed? You feel like you want to harm yourself? Feel like you want to harm others? I said, does wanting to punch the guy who ran into me count? She said, no, that's okay. And I did get a little bit of a protrusion. I have a little bit of a scar. So that means no matter how hard I try, it's not going to be bikini summer for me. It's not. And I couldn't really get out of bed for like the first week. And so they had to they have a thing called an external catheter, much better than the internal, where it goes over the junk so I can pee without having to get out of bed. Leaks a little bit, so they're trying to put it on there. I've got 3 nurses trying to put this on. This was not the fantasy I had with about 3 nurses. And the thing is that they're trying to put what they call a condom tip on it. I'm not having an erection. Trust me. After this, have you ever tried to put a wet noodle in a straw? Just doesn't work. And of course that area of the body, when you get trauma to the pelvic area, it doesn't react well, and my bowels shut down. So when she's down there, checking things out, she goes, "Ooh, it's so hard." I was disappointed that it was my abdomen she was talking about, but they did do an X-ray and they did prove my father was right. I am full of shit. But your priorities do change when you have an accident like that. I mean, my goals were sitting up, standing up, and wiping my own ass. Nothing more demeaning than having to call somebody in your ass. And you do not appreciate those 10 steps to the bathroom until you aren't able to take them.
Yeah, really.
And the amount of energy that it actually takes to just shift your butt on the seat is amazing. It hurt, man. It hurt. And when you enter the hospital, you don't know shit. But by the time you leave, you know your shit very well. You had to count it. I actually had a little bit of vertigo. When you have an accident, there's crystals in the ear that get jostled. And the technician would tilt my head one way and then tilt the head the other way. So I felt like that little game with the marble where you have to roll it and avoid the holes.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is that all the staff wore masks all the time. And it wasn't until like day 4 that I realized I played volleyball with one of these people. But I have my next car picked out. It's the M1 Abrams battle tank.
Really? Yeah, that's what you need.
Let me end on some older ones I got here. I do like phrases and kind of how phrases can be. How many people are familiar with the phrase "to drop a dime"? Drop a dime means call the police on somebody. Does anybody know where that phrase comes from?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there are these things called payphones. For the younger people, payphone is this box that you step in. It's got numbers. It's got a handset. And you put money in to make a phone call. Well, originally you would drop a dime into the payphone. That's where the phrase came from, to call the police. Now, the last time I saw a payphone, keep in mind, New York City just got rid of their last one. But the last time I saw one, it was like 45 cents to make a phone call. And it just, 2 dimes and a quarter just doesn't roll off the tongue quite as well. And then there's one of my favorite phrases: don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Where's this freaking horse with all the gifts? And why is he putting them in his mouth? I think that's where "stop being a dead horse" comes from. That horse did not have gifts.
Cool.
And who named the blowjob? There's no blowing involved. Where was its name? Come on, really? All right, I'll end it there. Our first comic comes to us you're from Greenville, right? Will?
I live in Anderson. Yeah.
Anderson? Okay.
Yep.
Oh, so he's actually closer to me than I met him in Greenville. That's why I was thinking you were from Greenville.
Yeah.
Will is a regional comic. I met him a few times down in some of the open mics. Very funny gentleman. I want you to please give a warm round of applause for Will Kelly.
Woo!
Ooh, hey, thanks for having me on. It's a great day here. Up in the upper room in my house, doing comedy, which is kind of weird, but here we're gonna roll with it. I brought in some little artwork for you guys, and I thought you might appreciate it. So I'm gonna try and make this low tech work with high tech, and we're just gonna roll with that too. All right. So this is a picture I drew of people laughing at my jokes. I look at it with there's a horse because it makes me laugh, and yeah, that's what I go with. Oh, now it's on the wrong side. Oh, we'll fix it. There we go. So my name is Will Kelly, or as I'm known in parts of Pickens, Whale. That's how I know somebody's a redneck, is they say my name with 2 syllables. So when they're like, "Hey, Whale," like, "Oh yeah, that's how I spell it, Weeyul. I'm glad you pronounced it correctly." But by the way, I do have a website that's whale.com. It's spelled just like that. So if you ever want to see some more crap from me, it'll be there. Anyways, so I like to mess with numbers, and I like to think about statistics sometimes. And one day I was kind of when I was a kid, I was kind of afraid to go in the ocean. I was afraid of sharks because of the movies. And someone told me, like, well, you're like 30 times more likely to get struck by lightning than get bit by a shark. I was like, that's not as comforting as you think it is. Because now I'm freaking worried about lightning. But anyways, I did the math, okay? And turns out your chances of getting bit by a shark are about 1 in 30 million. Your chances of getting hit by lightning are about 1 in 1 million. And if you look, your chances of getting hit by a bolt of lightning while being bit by a shark are about 1 in 30 billion. This isn't backwards, is it? Okay.
No.
So I was also thinking about advertising and products like at the grocery store and crap. A lot of those products you see nowadays will put little extra tags on their items just to get you to buy it. Like they didn't do anything; they just put a little extra thing on the box. Like if you find I don't know, a bag of grapes or something and it says gluten free on it. Well, they didn't do anything; they just wrote gluten free on there. It was always the same. So I was like, well, let's roll with that now. So I came up with my own ideas for advertisement if someone ever wants to hire me. For example, here's Tom's oatmeal. It looks fine and nice and everything, but this is Will's oatmeal.
Ew.
It contains no reptile-derived products because it says so on the box.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Tom's apples. They look fine and nothing wrong with Tom's apples. But what if it was sitting right here next to Will's apples? No one sneezed on these apples. Guaranteed. Or Tom's golf clubs. They look fine. But put them next to Will's golf clubs.
Oh.
Not tested on animals. That may or may not be a good thing. Depend on your preference. I don't know. Anyways, I wanted to send a message to you guys today. It's a special night to us today, and I want to make sure that all of y'all remember to put out your cigarette.
Okay.
Oh Lord. So this is a Venn diagram. So on one side you have sports that won't keep your attention. On the other side, you have places where you can get knocked the fuck out by flying objects. And in the middle is baseball. All right, but that's all the drawings. Let's go to the part where I don't have to hold something in the air. All right, we're good now. Yeah, so like I said, my name is Will. Been trying to do some comedy for a little while now. I've been trying to look good and present myself well. And so throughout my life, I grew my hair out long, and as you can see, and I had some friends that were like, "Yeah, Will, you look pretty good with the long hair. That works out for you." And I was like, "Oh, thanks, that's nice." And then I grew a little bit of beard here, and again, people were like, "Oh, that beard is good for you. Good on you, man." And I was like, "Man, I'm finally figuring myself out." But then I realized like what they were actually telling me is, "Hey, Will, that face you have, like the more of that, like you cover with hair or beard or something, like the better we're feeling about your situation here." Like, but don't feel bad for me. I had a great time during the pandemic. See here, like, how you doing? I'm sorry, that's too sexy. Let's get rid of that. But I work in a hospital. Kind of the hard thing about working in a hospital is that you can never, ever call in sick, no matter what. Because every time we call in, it's like, "Oh, you're vomiting? Oh, you feel like you're going to die? You know where I think you should be? Right here." It's like, oh, that's nice. The other thing about working in a hospital that's great is getting gaslit by your friends from high school. Yeah, because I would post something online about like how freaking terrible things were during the pandemic, and they respond like, "Oh, none of those people in there are dying from COVID." And I was like, "Oh, thank God, those bodies look so real." Hey, say, aren't you the guy that failed an open book exam in 10th grade? Yeah, shut the hell up. I do. I watch medical shows too. I like to keep informed, and I saw this show a while back, and it was about a guy who was in an accident, and I don't remember how this happened, but somehow he lost his nose. His nose got separated from his face. I don't know how that happened, but it had to be one hell of an accident. But anyways, they found his nose and they actually put it back, surgically reattached it to his face, and that's pretty amazing. But the whole time I was watching this, I was just thinking, man, if I was his doctor, I would just bust in there like, I got your nose. I got your nose. No, really, I got your nose. And on there, yeah. You have to be careful about things you post online, put on Facebook and whatnot. I am very careful. Not that I'm afraid of offending somebody, not really. I just have this irrational fear that if I were to die tragically in a sudden accident, then whatever the last thing I posted online would be how I'm remembered for eternity. You know, I just have it in my mind that someone's gonna get up in my funeral like, dearly beloved, we are gathered here to remember a man named Will Kelly. Kind man, a man who liked to travel, a man who loved his family. I will now read to you his final words to his friends and his family. American Airlines can eat a dick. We've been waiting for 3 hours to fix some bullshit on the plane. At least he died doing what he loved, right? At least he died doing. That's what people say. At least he died doing what he loved. When someone dies in a sport or things that they like doing, they'll say that as if it's comforting. But they never say that when someone almost dies, right? You never have like some NASCAR driver got in a bad accident and afterwards they're like, well, at least he became a quadriplegic doing something he loved. That is true. I went to the dentist the other day. That's always a treat, right? Yeah. Just try not to flinch while they're just scraping and poking, scraping at your teeth for like 15 minutes. Oh boy. They'll say something like, well, you're not taking good care of your gums. I'm like, neither are you. Like, I'm bleeding like 3 places. What is this? Like, you should tell me. Like, Will, when's the last time you flossed? I was like, dude, you were there. Like, why are you asking me? Like, oh man, I do like to eat. I got to eat. I like going out to eat. I like to eat. You know, that's it. You know, it's these restaurants nowadays, their food's too good. And everybody's got appetizers. They all look fantastic. But, you know, appetizers, though, that's the most American thing I've seen in the world, right? Like some guy one day was just like, you know what would really get me in the mood to eat something? Eating something. Yeah. And it used to be that, you know, it's just something simple like some chips and some fruit, just something light to get you ready for dinner. Nowadays, it's like, here's an entire quesadilla, stuff that in your pork hole so we can get your entree ready so you don't eat the kid in the next booth. Right. Yeah. I do cook sometimes. I like to grill. I man the grill. I like the man thing. Man the grill. Man it. But like, can we all agree that like medium rare is like the only way you should really make a steak? Like everything. I mean, like medium well done people there. No. I don't know. Every time someone tells me like, you know, they want their steak well done, I just take their piece of meat and throw it in the dirt and stomp on it. They're like, Will, what the hell, man? Like, well, you asked me to ruin a piece of meat, and this is a whole lot faster than me burning it for 30 minutes. Okay, no one was gonna eat that. You ever been to a restaurant where they ask you how you want your burger done? Like, there's only one way to cook a burger, like all the way, like cook it, you know? Like how do I want my burger done? Appropriately? Like, what do you want me to tell you? Like, Like, next time I'm going to be going to a seafood restaurant and they're going to bring you lobster. Like, how do you want it done? Like all the way through or still moving? Oh, just do it, man. Just cook the thing. Y'all been out to these all these burger joints nowadays, like McDonald's and Wendy's and whatnot. They'll have salads and apple slices, trying to make healthy menu items. And I just don't think it's right. You know, they're not being themselves. I still think the most healthy item you can choose at McDonald's is the exit. But they're not being true to themselves. That's why my favorite fast food restaurant is Hardee's. Not because they're good. Oh God, no, they're not good at all. But at least they're honest about it. You know, like, you walk into a Hardee's and like, hey, what do you guys got? Well, we have a 3-pound thick burger with 18 slices of bacon and enough mayonnaise to drown a puppy in it. We call it our fat bastard burger. It's $8.99. Like, that doesn't sound very healthy, you know? Like, oh, hell no, it ain't healthy. This is Hardee's. You didn't come here for healthy. In fact, that's our slogan. If you go look at the door right now, it says Hardee's. You didn't come here for healthy. You came here because you've made bad decisions in your life. You came here because you've been divorced twice. You haven't seen your kids in 6 months. You've been driving the wrong way down the interstate for 18 miles and you needed food. That's why you're at Hardee's. Just eat something. Oh God. All right, I will close it here. One more, right? Anybody got a pet, like a dog or animal, just has it a little bit too good? You know what I mean? Animals, they get spoiled too much. Like when you get a dog and you get a pet, like a little puppy or something, you always start out like, all right, dog, you're gonna sleep in this room in your crate. That's the way it's gonna be. I'll see you in the morning. 3 months later, the dog's got its own sleep number, and you're just trying to hang on to the tiny strip of real estate you still have left in your bed, right? It's true. And I know my dog has it too good. I know it. My wife bought him these treats, and they look like people cookies. They look like cookies you or I would eat, and they even smell good too. It's weird. And so of course, after a while, you know, curiosity got its peak, and I had to try one of these things. And guess what? They're better than my cookies. They're freaking delicious. What the heck? My wife insists that they came from Petco, but you know, if that's the case, then someone's gonna have to apologize to the dog, because these things are mine now. If you see me lifting my leg at a fire hydrant sometime down the road, just mind your own business, okay? I think that's all for me tonight. Thank you guys for listening and indulging in us.
All right, let's keep it going for Will. Yeah, well, you know, the whole die doing something you loved. I mean, that I want to die, you know, having sex, but that really doesn't bode well for the person I'm having sex with. At least not till rigor mortis sets in.
Oh, that was bad.
Our next comedian I met doing a Zoom comedy during the pandemic. Real nice guy, very funny guy. Please give it up for Michael Cooper.
Hey,
Woo!
folks.
Woo!
I'm doing good. I hope y'all are doing good. Listen, just got to get something out of the way up top, because I don't know where all of y'all are from, and I live in Chicago, and I find that I pretty much have to start every set this way in order for it to go well. So just so you know, I'm aware that when I talk, I sound like the bad guy in all the historically accurate movies. It's actually a hereditary condition. It comes from being descended from the bad guy in all the historically accurate movies. Living up here, folks ask me, they're like, well, you know, it's real conservative down in the South, isn't it? It's real conservative. They're not very liberal down there. I'm like, okay, well, your town killed Fred Hampton. But they want to know. They're like, what was the hardest part about growing up in a conservative evangelical community? First of all, I've known this person for 5 minutes, and they're basically asking what the worst part of my childhood was. But I'll tell you, the hard part about growing up in a conservative evangelical community was and still is the number of people in my personal life who believe in God, but don't believe in my comedy career.
Oh, shit.
You motherfuckers will show up at church at 9 o'clock in the morning with bells on, ready to give them 10% of your money. This show is happening at 7:30 Central Time and is free. You can read thousands of pages, hundreds and hundreds of pages over and over and over and over and over and over again with no additional context. There's never like a time where like a new character does a run-in that you're not expecting or anything. You can do that, but you can't watch a 5-minute YouTube clip. There's already more evidence during this set of me being a stand-up comedian than there is of God.
Oh, shit.
Ever in human existence. This might surprise some of y'all. I've been through a lot of relationships. I did have a breakup recently. It was mutual. I agreed to it. She agreed to it. Some guy named Nick agreed to it. I was late to that meeting. It turns out they early voted. My friends got mad at me in the aftermath. They were like, Michael, stop hooking up with your ex. She cheated on you. Michael, stop fucking your ex-girlfriend and have some self-respect. And that is good advice. But it's like they say, you can lead a horse to water. You can't stop a horse from fucking its ex-girlfriend. That's a horse. Join the party or get the fuck out of it, but you are not calling 5-0 in on this one. To be fair to me, the last time we hooked up, it was an emergency in that she was horny and she was about to go on a road trip to Indiana. I just don't think anybody should have to be horny in Indiana. That's how we got Mike Pence. Afterwards, after the breakup, she told me how sorry she was for the cheating and how I didn't deserve that. And I explained how sorry I was for not telling her about my relapse and the $2,000 I owe her. And she still felt bad about the cheating. Love, what did you do with these guys? I owe you $2,000 because I was getting plastered all day while you were at work. What did you do with one of these men that's worth $2,000? Did y'all have to cross state lines? Did you have to cross state lines for this unspeakable sex act and then perform said sex act on my grandmother's grave or some shit? What did you do? Can't think of a single time I've come and been like, that would have been worth $2,000. So, if I had to choose between doing this and having $2,000 back that I gave to an alcoholic, I definitely picked this leg. We did stay friends, and but there was a little passive aggression there. Like I would come over to visit, and there would be Magnum condoms like laying around, like unopened Magnum condoms laying around, and that felt purposeful. That's way beyond just like taking a picture of yourself on the internet, living your best life, knowing your ex is gonna see it. Look, I don't really care what people actually believe, but I do need them to actually believe the things that they say they believe. And there is a political demographic that doesn't do that, and that is libertarians. And I noticed it because maybe y'all have noticed the same thing. You ever have this happen to you? You're at the bar, you hear a guy talking about small government and keeping Big Brother out of our business, and you assume they mean it. So then you follow them home and bash them upside the head a half a dozen times and steal their Fitbit. Then suddenly it's time for fairness and government intervention. Why is it when Jeff Bezos does it, it's the invisible hand of the market? When I do it, it's advisable to seek legal counsel. And I'm no longer welcome in Rand Paul's neighborhood.
Oh my
And
gosh.
Definitely shouldn't repeat this story until 2022 when the statute of limitations has passed on live stream. I'm fucking free and I got away with it. What's today's date?
July 22nd.
Oh, fuck. Well, they won't get here before the set's over. I really don't care what like political parties people are into, though. I think about it like this. As a communist, I think the reason most Americans hate communism is the same reason I hate NFTs. I don't know what they are, but I do know I don't like the person explaining it to me.
Uh,
I did that joke once, and this unfortunate looking individual, he shouted out from the back, "It stands for non-fungible token." Okay, I know. I can Google that, but that tells me nothing. Okay, let's break this terminology down. Non-fungible token. Okay, non. I know what that word means. I can go with it. It negates the next word. The next word, fungible. Fungible is an economics term or legal term indicating that an item can be traded in exchange for goods or services. So it can't be traded for goods, services, or money, and it's a token. And what the fuck is a token? We have 5,000 different types of tokens, and normally with a word like that, you got to figure it out by context. But the context prior to this one is just that it can't be exchanged, which is one of the things that a token is. And then what are people doing with them? Exchanging them for money. This word makes no sense. And I really didn't like that guy. Every time I think of non-fungible token, you know who can explain a non-fungible token to you? If you want to know what an NFT is, you got to talk to an NFP. That's a non-fuckable person.
Oh, no.
I am missing half the teeth in my mouth. But every time I'm near a man and a woman and the man starts to explain NFTs, I'm like, I got a better shot. I got a better chance.
Oh, shit.
It's just get so tired of the bullshit. None of the things we're doing make any sense. I was almost late getting home in time for this show because I just got pulled over by the cops. And when I get pulled over by the police, it takes a while. And that is because I don't answer questions. Do any of y'all do that? Do y'all answer questions when you get stopped by the police? They ask you how fast do you know how fast you're going? There's no good answer. I just don't give one. I give them exactly what's legally required of me, which is my papers, and that's it. They always get very mad. And then I ask for a supervisor. And then the supervisor comes out there and gives me a lecture. You know, the only people who don't answer questions are guilty people. And do you know that when people like you don't answer questions, it makes it harder for my deputies to go out there and catch real criminals? First of all, I'm disappointed you don't think I'm a real criminal. If you were aware of the events on June the 23rd of 2016, you would believe me. Secondly, is there going to be a quiz at the end of this lecture, Sergeant? Because if so, I'm going to fail it because I don't answer questions. Now, when they do get pissy with me, I don't immediately call a supervisor, right? I don't immediately think, oh, I'm going to tell them I want to talk to their manager and that's going to fix this. Nope, I don't do that. What I do is they'll ask me a question. Do you know how fast you were going? I don't answer questions. Mr. Cooper, is this your current address? I've provided my identification officer. And then I ask for their name and badge number. And when they give it to me, no matter who they are, or if I've never met them before in my life, I always respond the same way. I repeat the name back to them, and then I make a large dismissive gesture. Oh, Gonzalez, I heard of you. And then they go, what'd you hear? And I say, I don't answer questions. So just barely made it in time. Listen, one thing that I do believe as somebody who's been poor my whole life is that if you've been poor your whole life like me, I don't think you should ever fuck a rich person. Why should they get to come and retire at a reasonable age? I have to choose between food and health care. Y'all got to choose between exploring your kinks with me and denying me food and health care. Some practical reasons. First of all, look at them. Ooh. Secondly, who's looking at Jeff Bezos and thinking, yeah, I bet that guy's a giving lover. You ever get head from a rich person? Nope. If you did, I bet you it was weird. It's not their fault. They're out of practice. Okay, this is just a historical fact. Y'all know what the last documented case of a rich person giving head was?
No.
It was Marie Antoinette during the French Revolution. It's at least the last time a poor person was glad a rich person gave head. This might surprise y'all. I haven't done well financially throughout life. I've had a lot of bad jobs. I think the worst one was I used to deliver pizza on a bicycle. Most of the college students. Most of the customers were college students. And I don't know if y'all know this about 19-year-olds whose parents have 40 grand a year to send them to DePaul to study music theory. But when they see a 32-year-old dude pull up on a bicycle at 2 o'clock in the morning in 12-degree weather to deliver their pizza, they can be a little disrespectful. But that's okay. You know what I would do? I would just ask them what they were studying. Then no matter what, I told them I studied the same thing. You haven't lived, so you watched a 19-year-old ruin their life with one lie. What's that? Biomechanical engineering? Shit fire, son. Me too. Is it weird I called my customer son? Maybe a little. But you know, if my parents taught me one thing, it's if you're going to fuck up someone's life, you owe it to them to call them son first.
Oh shit.
I don't know why I do that to them. They are both perfectly wonderful people. Like, look, I'm the worst thing my parents have ever done. And to be fair to them, that was an accident. Everything since then has just been harm reduction. Someone told me, they're like, Michael, it sounds like you just hate all entrepreneurs. Sounds like you just hate all entrepreneurs. And I took offense because that's not true. There are some entrepreneurs that I think have done some really good stuff. For instance, y'all know on them golf courses where those rich fuckers like to hang out? Whichever entrepreneur came up with the cost-cutting mechanism of not removing the alligators from there, I can give them a tax cut. I guess if some of this was a little bit rough, I should explain myself through an anecdote from my childhood. When I was a kid, Dad used to take us fishing every Sunday, and I loved it. But one Sunday morning, I was 8 years old, and I got upset on the way home because I could hear the fish flopping around in the trunk of the car. And he could have handled it a lot of ways. He could have said, son, these fish are going home with us because we need sustenance to survive. And because of socioeconomic conditions outside of our control, we do not currently have the ability to live a vegan or vegetarian lifestyle that would decrease the suffering that we cause by attempting to exist. But that's a lot to explain to an 8-year-old. I still thought wrestling was real. I celebrated, I thought a bunny was gonna bring me gifts because a dude who was executed by the state rose from the grave. I thought those things were happening. So he didn't go that route. He told me a lie, a little white lie. He said, son, don't worry. Fish don't have pain nerves. So if any of the things I said tonight were too far, just remember this. Rich people don't have pain nerves. So no matter how much you hear them flopping around in the trunk while you're on the way home to eat them. All right, I'm going to jail. I got to go listen to Freebird while I cut myself for a bit. I just want to say a lot of comics on here have heard me close that way for years. Never checked on me. Thanks so much.
Yay.
Checked on you. We want to advise. How do you get? Carissa, I hope you come to our shows. I love your laugh.
Oh, thank you.
Again, if you have a good time, please share this with other people, more audience members. If you had a good time also and want to show the comics some love, at Cash App, $Button-Down Comedy, or at paypal.me/BD Comedy. I'd appreciate anything you could send. All right, our headline tonight is a gentleman I also met doing the Zoom comedy over the pandemic. Josh, where are you located now?
I'm in Chicago at the present time.
Chicago. When I met him, you used to be where, in LA?
I was in LA, yeah.
Yeah. So he gets around. What can I say? You know. Very funny gentleman. Please put your hands together for Josh DiDonato.
Woo!
Thank you.
Uh-oh.
Thank you, Gio. And yes, Carissa is a good laugher, also a good comedian. So which makes her laughing even that much more amazing because of how a lot of comedians will not laugh ever. It's interesting to be back here on the Zooms. It's been it's been a while. I did do a ton of Zoom stuff. How do I get to gallery view? Man, I don't
What
want
do
to
you
look at me. I'm trying to, oh, here we
What-
go. Oh, way better. Okay, I got it. Yeah, it's been a while. I've gotten used to, it's old school performing in front of people. And yeah, I learned a lot though about doing comedy, and it was an interesting experience. I did hundreds of Zoom sets, and I definitely, there's one thing that I came away with about doing Zoom comedy. The difference between bombing on Zoom and killing on Zoom is almost indistinguishable. Cannot tell ever how it's going. Thank you for having me. All right, let's see. It's a great little crowd here. Pretend that you are a crowd of actual people. It's a great crowd here. Sometimes if you're in a crowded bar and you say to somebody, hey, is it cool if I sit here? Sometimes people will say, go ahead, it's free country. Right? And I was thinking, like, I wonder if when you go to other places, if there's an equivalent phrase, like if you're in a bar in North Korea or something, and you're like, hey, is it cool if I sit here? If they say, go ahead, it's a dictatorship, nobody cares what you do. We'll probably all be murdered in our sleep one day, so take a load off, relax for now. I guess we've had like a number of times over the past few years where it, and I think maybe now is one of those times where it looks like might be time to wind that phrase down. It's a free country, right? Or at least we should change it, just something like, it's a free country if you're white and male and Christian and heterosexual. It's clunky. It's not as good as the original, I have to say. There's some people who like the new version. We've all got pet peeves. I'll tell you one of mine is when people don't know what a pet peeve is. No, you talk to some people and they'll say, you know what my pet peeve is? Racism. And it's like, no. Pet peeve is something that just bugs you and not for a good reason. It cannot be something that is universally agreed to be a terrible thing. You know what my pet peeve is? Cold-blooded murder. When I'm in Starbucks and someone just like stabs the person in front of me to death, it's like, really? You really doing that right now? Can't you go outside? You're being so annoying. You just literally got blood on my phone. I figured out that all of my pet peeves are verbal, pretty much. Like I don't really care what people do. It's just the stuff that people say that drives me crazy. Like, when people say it goes without saying? You don't need to say that, never. I was hanging out with my best friend and he said, well, it's 10:30. It goes without saying we should probably get some dinner. Well, yeah, it could have gone without saying, but then you said it. So no, it's not. It's going with saying. I feel like if you find yourself saying it goes without saying a lot, you should probably just go without saying anything to me for a while. All right. All right, I gotta bust out my dog material, I guess. What's up with cats, huh? Are they annoying or what?
Oh.
Who hates taking a bath? Am I right? Okay. Yeah. I have been called a grammar Nazi, I will admit. which is confusing because I am a Jewish, and you know, I mean, you want to tell me I'm a grammar snob, you know, fine, grammar pest even, but Nazi? I don't know. I feel like my tut-tutting about the use of prepositions is not really the same as exterminating your ancestors. I don't know. Okay. I haven't done that joke in a while, and it shows. Will was talking about, was you talking about a fast food place? Who was talking about a fast food place? Was that you? Yeah, it reminds me of, wait, what was the place you were talking about?
Hardee's.
Was it Arby's?
Hardee's.
Oh,
Hardee's.
Hardee's. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. There's
Carl's Jr.
well, there's one place, and I don't know if they had some in LA. I don't know if they still exist. Is there rallies around still? Okay, yeah. I remember. Just reminded me. I haven't thought about this in a while, but their rallies slogan for a while, it may still be their slogan, was "You gotta eat," which is just the worst, laziest slogan. I mean, it's pretty much, I mean, it's realistic though. It's kind of like you're driving around, it's 1 a.m. You're like, oh man, there's nothing open. Oh, rallies. Oh, man, I do not want to go to rallies, but I gotta eat. And then the recent one that really just bothers me, and they've had this for a couple of years now, is Pizza Hut slogan. No one out pizzas the Hut, which is just a fucking lie. I mean, that was when I knew the Trump era had eliminated all factual meaning. Everyone out pizzas the Hut. Everyone. Everyone on this Zoom out pizzas the Hut. I have never made a pizza, but I believe upon making my first pizza, I would out pizza the Hut. If you have had pizza at 2 or more places, Pizza Hut is not your favorite pizza. Anyway, I don't know. It's mostly guys on here. I'm curious if any of the guys will relate to this, because I think I'm becoming my dad, right? Because I've noticed that I've started to impregnate women and vanish without being responsible for the baby. What can I say? That's how the old man didn't raise me. That's actually the exact manner was the old man did not raise me. That joke took 35 years to write. I was kind of hoping for a little more there. Actually, that was a joke based on true circumstances. And I just recently found out that the guy who I spent my whole life thinking was my dad, who did not raise me, but who I met later in life and died a few years ago, the guy whose name was on my birth certificate, was not my dad. And like, there's this whole other guy who was like officially my dad. He didn't know, I didn't know, just met him recently. And it's just like completely turned my world upside down. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I've been hating the wrong guy this whole time. You know, it's like, I'm just so confused. Like, who do I blame all my problems on now? You know? And like, and there's this new guy who I've just met him in LA about a month ago. It's just like so many questions, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, is this guy the reason I ejaculate blood? There's a lot of medical stuff. Yeah, I'm in Chicago. It's kind of confusing. I left LA. I'm in Chicago right now. I live in Chicago and Atlanta, back and forth. And I was doing some online dating in Atlanta. I was seeing this thing on profiles I'd never seen in LA. All these profiles that start out, I'm a hardworking, God-fearing Christian woman. I want to meet a man who loves Jesus as much as I do. And when I see that in a dating profile, what I read is, no fucking Jews. Stay away from me, you dirty Jew. I'm a dirty Jew. Away with thee, heathen Semite. You will taste the fires of hell. Only a man of the Lord can enter my holy valley. Lo, I say unto thee, my sweet Christian flower can only be pollinated by New Testament jizz. That's how I read that. It's interesting, you know, the fear of God I find interesting. I don't know, like I believe in God, you know. Sorry, Michael Cooper. But I don't fear God, you know. I don't fear God. That's just not how my concept of God works. But like the fear of God, that's the only fear that people go around bragging about. You know, people usually don't announce their fears in public, but people who fear God really do want you to know. And yeah, so I'm not a God-fearing person. I would say I'm more of a shark-fearing person. You know, but I don't gotta tell everybody, you know. Also, I don't worship sharks. So, you know, I don't know. What would that look like? I guess you wear a shark tooth necklace. And I guess church would be watch Jaws every week and talk about it in a group. I guess the High Holy Days would be Shark Week, right? And the apocalypse would be Sharknado. This is actually a decent system. I might want to look at this. I've been thinking about spirituality, and you know, I was thinking like, what's the coolest spiritual designation? And when I say coolest, I don't mean who's right, you know, but like when I say coolest, I mean like who's the coolest with everybody else doing their thing. You know what I mean? So Christians off the list immediately, right? Like they might be right, but they are not known to be the coolest. If you've ever, you know, seen history or, you know, pretty much all history, I think, or the current news. Yeah, so it's not Christians. You would think that atheists would be the coolest group, right? Like they don't believe in God, what do they care, right? That would be if you had never met an atheist in your whole life. If you get stuck at a party with an atheist talking about spirituality, that's your night, pretty much. That you're just going to be hearing a lot of facts and maybe some opinions. Yeah, so I was thinking like, I mean, Jews, pretty cool. Like they don't try and convert other people to become Jewish, you know. But, you know, I think probably the coolest group has got to be agnostics, right? Because, I mean, not knowing is in their name, right? So I just can't imagine, like there is such a thing as evangelical atheists, right? If you've never met one, you may sometime, but I just can't imagine the idea of an evangelical agnostic. Like what would an agnostic getting in your face look like, you know? It'd be like, yeah, you know, the real truth about God is, I don't know. You're probably right. Who knows, really? Yeah, so it's doing the online dating thing, and let me see here. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you want to be, pardon me, kind of positive, you know, in general. Do an online profile. Some women do not share this view. I've seen so many profiles. First words of the profile: no liars, no cheaters. And it's just like, okay, someone's been hurt. I get it. You know, I don't know if that's like the first thing you want me to see about you? I don't see that, and I'm like, wow, I really want to meet this person. And then no drama, you see that a lot. Usually all caps. Do you know who tend to be the most dramatic people? People who employ the word drama, I have found. So I feel like you meet that person, you're going to have to prove that drama is not occurring at some point. Seems to have drama just baked in there. Also, see this a lot. Sorry, I got to take a drink here. Also see this in profiles. No dick pics. That a lot, which I get that. I mean, I totally understand you not wanting to see unsolicited pictures or even solicited pictures of just with junk, right? But, and I'm not a dick pic person, not at all. I've never sent nor taken a dick portrait. So it's just, that's not my thing, but I don't know, I feel like if I can get into the head of the dick pic type person, I feel like if they see no dick pics, that's not going to have them not be sending dick pics. Do you know what I mean? I feel like that person sees that and they're like, oh, they haven't seen mine. Oh, I really want to send them now. People talk about how weird online dating is. It's so weird. It's so weird. Oh, if you have a kid, you'll have to explain to the kid, I swiped on your mom. Ha ha ha. I've heard 1,000 comics do that joke. And I just don't think that online dating is so weird. And certainly going forward, because more and more of our interactions are online, I think it's going to be weirder in the future to describe having met in person. Seriously, like I think there'll be a lot of conversations in the future that are like, Grandpa, how did you meet Grandma? Well, I had a job at Pizza Hut, and she came in and we struck up a conversation and went from there. You met IRL? Wasn't that scary? Like, you didn't know what kind of books or movies she liked? You didn't read any inspirational quotes, you just met. Yeah, that's how we used to do it, kid. And then, and how did you meet? Oh, I had a job at Pizza Hut. You know pizza, right? Yeah, I know pizza, but Grandpa, what is job? Oh, that's just something we used to have long ago before the world economy collapsed under the weight of capitalism. It was a long time ago, sweetie. It was a different world. Yeah. Back then, 110 degrees was considered hot, if you can believe that. Oh, what I wouldn't give for 110 degree weather. I miss going outside without a hazmat suit. Grandpa, you can't go outside without a hazmat suit. President Gaga says that's very dangerous. Oh, no, I voted for President Gaga. Believe me, our president was the son of a very famous pop singer from when I was a young lad. But no, I trust the science and I trust President Jeff Gaga. Okay, the only improbable part of that joke is Lady Gaga naming her son Jeff. Everything else is pretty much on the table, I think. Yeah, not a dick pic guy, not a porn guy. I'm like, I don't look at porn, and nobody believes me. If you tell people you don't watch porn, they're like, yeah, what kind of porn you watch? I'm like, I don't, none. And then they just think you watch so much, but I don't. And actually, I've heard about, there's one kind of porn, the new kind that seems intriguing to me. What it is they have men and women, and men and men, and women, but all the people having sex in these videos just became American citizens that day. It's called Barely Legal. And I guess that's like a fetish for some people, you know, that fresh new Americanness is a turn. Yeah, I don't watch porn. But actually the closest I've been getting to porn lately has been the January 6th hearings. That's my porn, you know? I'm not saying that I've been beating off to congressional hearings, but I'm not saying that, you know? Just like, yeah, Pat Cipollone. Yeah. Try and rebuild your reputation, you dirty little fascist. And I'm trying to work some kind of way to fit the phrase insurrection in here somewhere. It's weird. I have been watching those, and you know, there's like a point on January 6th when like, it's Mike Pence is like trapped in the building, and there's people roaming the halls, screaming, "Hang Mike Pence." And Trump knows about it and basically left him to die in the Capitol. And it's just like, that still just blows my mind. And then I think for a second, I'm like, wait a minute, why am I rooting for Mike Pence? Like, he should die. Let him, you know, some good will come out of it. Yes, let them kill him, you know. Yeah, there's a phrase that I hear people say. You hear it a lot. People out in life, people on TV will say it. Politicians will say it. America is the greatest country in the world. Ever heard somebody say that?
Mm-hmm.
America is the greatest country in the world. And I don't want to focus on whether or not that's true. I think, hey, I'm from America. I like America pretty good. You know, I feel like if you think America is the greatest country in the world, you have never been to Denmark. That's just my vibe. Veal or feeling or vibe or veal. Okay. But I think when you say a statement like America or any place is the greatest country in the world, I think you're skipping past the idea that maybe countries weren't that great of an idea to begin with. You know, it's kind of like, it's sort of like saying Air Bud 2 Golden Receiver is the best of the Air Bud movies. It's like, okay, sure. But wouldn't the world be a better place if there were no Air Bud movies?
Oh.
Yeah. Something's going on somewhere. All right. We can't afford to lose Carissa's laughs. Yeah, it was just I don't even know what month it is. It's July, right? Yeah. So it was just Pride Month last month. And there's one group in the LGBTQIA plus, I think I got it right, that I find interesting, asexuals. And I don't know a whole lot about that group, but I guess one interesting thing is that asexuals is not the same. Asexuals, I guess, have decided that they're not interested in sex, which is different, pardon me, from incels. Right? Incel means involuntary celibate. So those are people who would like to have sex, but they've been told by the entire world that no one will have sex with them, which is just, that blows my mind. I can't even believe that there's a group big enough to have that name. Do you know what I mean? No one will have sex with you? No one. I mean, there are so many women with perilously low standards, you know, which I'm not knocking at all.
Hey.
I've been the beneficiary of those low standards more times than I can tell you. But and then there are also some kind of political movement somehow, which I don't see how that is, but like, I don't even know how that started, you know, just like two friends talking, like, man, no one will fuck us. Yeah. Do you think maybe we should try harder? Yeah, we could, but no, wait a second. What if this is our thing? What if no one having sex with us is like our thing? And wait a minute, what if we're being oppressed? Oh my God, that's it. I've been waiting for my whole life as a straight white male to tell people I'm oppressed. This is great. Hashtag no one will fuck me too. I'll talk about branding these days. I think I have a pretty good idea for a branding concept or rebranding. And I'm not sure how to monetize this. So if anybody has any ideas, message me in the chat. I want to work on a campaign to rebrand shit as butt comp. And I don't know really what to do about that, but I feel like it's a moneymaker somehow. People tell me I'm political. People, as a person and as a comedian, people tell, oh, you do a lot of political stuff. You're a political comedian. And, in a way, that makes sense. Because I'm, interested in the community and I am involved. But then sometimes I feel like I don't even know, like so many things have been deemed political that I don't understand. Uh-oh, wait, I'm sorry. I have to check something. Oh, geez. This is terrible.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, there's somebody at the door. Sorry about that. Uh-oh. How was I talking about? Oh yeah, it's just things are like I just don't see how certain things are even considered political. You know what I mean? If you just say like, yeah, I don't know, cops probably shouldn't shoot unarmed Black teenagers. And people are like, whoa, hold on. Now you're getting political on me. Or if you're just like, you should wear a mask to stop a airborne virus from spreading. And people are like, I don't want to talk politics. And it's like, even just like, if you say that the person who won the presidential election, that's a political, if you're like, yeah, the guy who like in all the newspapers is what won. And people are like, let's not get into, that's not, all right. So, oh, okay, someone's getting the door. Great. Well, I'm glad that the momentum was broken on the one joke I knew wouldn't work. Shit. Yeah, anybody remember this thing with Twinkies a while back? Hostess, it's about 12 years ago, Hostess said they were going to stop making Twinkies. You remember that? Will? Okay, yeah. I had to establish that somebody knew that this was a thing because it could be confusing because there are Twinkies now. But there was about 12 years ago, I think, early 2000s. Hostess said, we're done making Twinkies. There's no more Twinkies, right? And a bunch of people wigged out, like went stocked up, bought all the Twinkies they could, right? Which you can do with Twinkies because they keep for a crazy long time, right? So there was like a period of about a year and a half where you couldn't get Twinkies except from those people, right? But they brought them back. I guess there was some kind of clamor in the snack cake community. So they brought them back. I missed those protests entirely. I don't know. I don't know what they were yelling at the marches, but probably something like white filling matters, something like that. But they brought them back so you can get Twinkies. And I think it's clear we're about to experience the same thing in this country with abortions, which I don't know how you stock up on abortions, but just get them while they're hot, this offer only available in certain states at this time. But I guess you could buy a bunch of cases of, morning after pills, but those don't keep as long as Twinkies, right? No way. So, but they will bring them back. They'll bring abortions back. Don't worry. If you think about Neil Gorsuch, Amy Coney Barrett, Brett Kavanaugh's ages, figure 25, 30 years, they'll bring them back, maybe during the AOC administration, or the Gaga administration. Yeah, I think it's become clear. I've known this for a while, but it's definitely more and more clear. Talk about freedom and civil rights and, what those words mean. And I think we'll all have to agree that vagina owners clearly have fewer rights than gun owners in this country. That's pretty indisputable, right? That's not a hot take, and I'm not a fan, by the way. I gotta say, I'm a staunch supporter of vagina owners over gun owners, and vaginas over guns while we're at it. They're just responsible for so much more pleasure. And statistically, everyone on this Zoom, if you're not a test tube baby, but and I'm not saying there aren't dangerous vaginas out there. There are, but a vagina can only ruin one life at a time. Maybe two in a very specific situation, but there just aren't vaginas that are designed to fuck up 100 people at once, not so with guns. But I think I've got a pretty good solution. It looks like we have, I see a couple of other names. So we have a couple of VOs here tonight. If you VOs can figure out a way to somehow surgically implant a gun down there, boom, you got a whole bunch of new rights, right? Congratulations, you are a gun owner. You're like a real citizen now. I'm sorry. Boom probably isn't the right word to use. You don't want that thing going off. And I don't know how you do that. I'm not a vagina gun scientist or gynecologist, I guess you'd call it. But I think it would help cut down on sexual assault a fair amount, Put your hand down there when it's not wanted, you could lose a hand, son. You just got finger banged. By which I mean several of your fingers were blown off by a pussy Uzi. Which is very different from an Uzi pussy. That's an entirely different device. All right. Yeah, it's weird. Amy Coney Barrett, allegedly a woman, on the Supreme Court. And she was the kind of last piece of the puzzle that they've been working on for 40 years to take away rights from, millions of American women. And I just think about how she can, do that. And they're taking away the rape exception too. I mean, I'm sure you've heard about possible 10-year-old girl raped, forced to carry the baby. And I mean, that's happening already in this country. Mm-hmm. And I think about Amy Coney Barrett, and I just think, all right, I'm not saying I hope someone rapes Amy Coney Barrett.
You want to go down? Okay.
But she's got to learn a lesson somehow. No, you know what? I hope she's murdered. That's probably for the best. That's the only way anything good will come out of this. It's got to be murder. No, wait, horrible accident. Way better, right? Because if somebody kills her, then they would be prosecuted. So yeah, I pray that Amy Coney Barrett is smited in a horrible accident. And I just, I feel like she's looking to be smoked. That's what I'm thinking. Okay. I've already gone over. I think that's a great note to end it on. Thank you, Gio, for having me, and tip your wait staff. Good night.
Keep it going for Josh DiDonato. So Josh, I think if you prepay for the abortion, wouldn't they have to honor it later?
If you what?
You prepay for the abortion, then they have to honor it later, right? It's like a gift.
Yeah, that's a good question. I guess if you'd have to log onto your Groupon and see what read the fine print.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody who came. The comics, great show. Had a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. Please, if you had a good time, spread the word. We have a show the second and fourth Friday of every month. So hopefully we'll see you all at our next show in 2 weeks. And let's put another round of applause together for our comics: Will Kelly, Michael Cooper, and Josh DiDonato.
Woo! Yay!
Thank you.
I was
Thanks,
going to say something.
What's that?
Does Planned Parenthood have like gift certificates? Is that something that they could, or prepaid cards?
Gift card.
Yeah, there you go. You're gonna have to honor that system.
I still want
Wow.
to, when the LGBT added the Q, why did they choose the QAnon? I don't understand how that fits in.
I don't know. I haven't looked it up. The queer, is that what it means? Queer? It's an embracing of the word queer.
Is that QAnon?
No,
Is that
no, no, no. It means queer.
He was making a joke.
Okay now, but I
Yeah,
don't think I
no.
can say it still.
It's what?
I know queer is okay now, and I've had people tell me that they prefer to be referred to as being queer,
Mm-hmm.
like gender queer,
Yeah.
etc. And I'm like, I'll do it, but I'm gonna have to whisper it because I don't know how everybody else is gonna interpret me saying queer.